Hello, welcome to Bards in the Basement. Today, the poem we will be looking at is The World is Too Much With Us by William Wordsworth. Wordsworth was one of the leaders of the Romantic period, the English Romantic period. He was a late 18th century, early 19th century poet. If you're looking at your screen, you see the poem on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, you see the literary terms that I will be discussing. First, let's get a definition of Romanticism. It's a poetic movement of the late 18th and early 19th centuries that turned toward nature and the interior world of feeling, in opposition to the mannered formalism and disciplined scientific inquiry of the Enlightenment era that preceded it. So Romanticism was reacting to, against the Enlightenment period, the Age of Reason, where the Age of Reason said you could find truth in a textbook, you could find truth at the end of a microscope. The Romantics were saying, not so fast there. There might be some truth in nature. Go out to nature. There might be some subjective truth, that which exists inside the individual. So Romanticism was responding to the rationalist, to the enlightened of the preceding era. And Wordsworth was one of the leaders. Since I mentioned Romanticism, just a quick run through of the other literary terms you see on the screen. The Italian sonnet, as opposed to the Shakespearean sonnet, both are 14 lines, but they have different rhyme schemes, and the function of the parts of the sonnet aren't exactly the same. So the Italian sonnet, or the Petrarchan sonnet, has a 14-line poem of an octave, the first 8 lines, and a sestet, 6 lines, the last 6 lines. The octave sets up the situation, describes a problem, and the sestet offers commentary or possible solution to the problem that was proposed in the first 8 lines. So first 8 lines, proposition, scene setting, if you will. Last 6 lines, commentary on that or resolution of that problem. Both the Italian sonnet and the English sonnet are written in Iambic Pentameter, and I have that broken down for you. There's the Iambic Pentameter means that there's 5 feet of poetry per line. So you see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it has unstressed followed by stressed syllables, so you get a nice lilt to it. The sea that bears her bosom to the moon. That's an example of Iambic Pentameter. Most of Shakespeare's sonnets conform to that. Occasionally he breaks that rhythm for intellectual, thematic reasons. And we have Wordsworth doing that here as well. That it doesn't follow exactly the iambic every line, but he might have different meter to add emphasis to certain words. For example, you'll see the phrase "great God." Both are stressed, and he does that for a reason. Right? The next definition is metonymy, is a type of figurative language in which an object or concept is referred to not by its own name, but instead by a name of something closely associated with it. I picked up some new wheels over the weekend. Well, I may have picked up wheels, or I might have bought a car. It depends on what I actually bought. Or all hands on deck. It's not like you chop off your hands and you throw them on the deck. It just, your hands represents the sailor, if you will. Slant rhyme, a type of rhyme with words that have similar but not identical sounds. Personification, the attribution of personal or personal nature or human characteristics to something non-human, or representation of the abstract quality in human form. Oxymoron, figure of speech in which apparently contradictory terms appear in conjunction, words placed right next to each other that seem to contradict. Classical allusion, a reference to a particular event or character in classical works of literature such as ancient Roman or Greek works. And here are some themes that Wordsworth will be exploring in this poem. He's looking at the materialistic world versus natural world, or nature versus world, individual versus society. And so the Industrial Revolution versus the natural world. So those are some ideas that Wordsworth is exploring in this poem. So let us now hear the poem, and then I'll do a walkthrough. The World is Too Much With Us by William Wordsworth. The world is too much with us. Late and soon, getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. Little we see in nature that is ours. We have given our hearts away, a sordid boon. This sea that bears her bosom to the moon, the winds that will be howling at all hours, and are gathered up now like sleeping flowers. For this, for everything, we are out of tune. It moves us not. Great God, I'd rather be a pagan, suckled in a creed outworn. So might I, standing on this pleasant lea, have glimpses that would make me less forlorn. Have sight of Proteus rising from the sea, or hear old Triton blow his wreathed horn. All right. Wordsworth could be seen as an early environmentalist, if you will. He is a poet that loved to celebrate nature and what nature had to offer humankind. Let us look at the first octave, and as I go through the octave or the lines of the poem, I will pause and talk about word choice, pause and talk about ideas that are being expressed there. So the world is too much with us. I think the word world is important. It's not, it's the world. World is created by human beings. It's not the earth, it's not nature, it's the world. And what type of world is that? That world Wordsworth, is responding to is the industrial world, the world of commerce, the world of getting and spending. So the world is too much with us. Late and soon, getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. Now, that late and soon, getting and spending, there's a chaotic tone to that, a rush to that, late and soon, getting and spending. And that's what the industrialized world is like. That's what the world of commerce is like. And Wordsworth has a problem with that. We lay waste our powers. And we have that nice use of assonance there, the A sound in lay, waste, nice W sounds there, the consonant sounds with the W's, we, waste. So nice word choice there, nice use of alliteration as well as assonance. We lay waste our powers. We're wasting our powers on too much on getting and spending. We're working to get money so we can spend it. We're doing things as of late and into the future soon. We're just working towards getting more, spending more, getting more. So there's a chaoticness. And I have the word metonymy as a literary term, and I think this is kind of a function of metonymy, that instead of saying the world is chaotic, instead of saying that, the Wordsworth in these first couple lines is showing the chaos. So that's why I have metonymy there as kind of, this is a function of metonymy, is to show the chaos. All right. Little we see in nature that is ours. Now, nature is capitalized, so nature is a God-like, personified like being, if you will. Little we see in nature that is ours. We don't see ourselves reflected in nature anymore. We're too much in the world, the created world, the industrial world, if you will. So we don't see ourselves in nature. And that's terrible. We waste our power. We waste our powers. We have given our hearts away. The speaker of the poem is saying that, wait, don't give our hearts away to the world, to the industrialized world. No, that's a waste of our powers. A sordid boon. There's an example of the oxymoron. Sordid means something that's vulgar, that's immoral, and boon is a prize. And so we're getting this wonderfully ugly prize, if you will, with the industrialized world. And we're not getting something more beautiful from the natural world. We've turned away from nature. And by doing so, we might be getting money, getting and spending. And that's sordid boon. There's a better boon. There's a better prize out there for you. And that could be found in nature if we'd look for it. All right? the sea that bears her bosom to the moon. The winds will be howling at all hours and are gathered up like sleeping flowers. So now we have the personification of the sea that bears her bosom. We have the use of similes, the winds that will be howling at all hours and are gathered up like sleeping flowers. So we have those parts of nature compared to sleeping flowers. For this, for everything, we are out of tune. That's wonderful. Human beings are out of tune with the natural world. Human beings are no longer seeing themselves in nature. They have laid waste their powers. They're too much into the world, the mercantile world, the world of industry. And so we're out of tune. And here's a wonderful example. And I think that Wordsworth, nothing happens by accident in poetry. Wordsworth has a slant rhyme here. Moon and tune are not exact. And that slight little bit off suggests that we're out of tune. And I think that Wordsworth chose to have a slant rhyme there to suggest that to reinforce that idea that we're out of tune with nature, with the slant rhyme, moon and tune. So wonderful word choice, wonderful use of slant rhyme in those two lines there. All right, so there's the octave. The first octave of the first 8 lines of the poem is suggesting here's a problem. The problem is that we're out of tune with nature. Here's the problem. We've sold ourselves to the world of industry, the Industrial Revolution, getting and spending. That's the problem. So the next 6 lines, the last 6 lines of the poem are in response to that. Now, one thing before we move to the last 6 lines, I just want to note the pronouns used. We have us, we have we have ours, we have our hearts, we have the word we again down here. So we have all these plural pronouns, plural first person pronouns, suggesting society, the world, the society is too much sold itself to the industrial world. All right. So we have those plural first person pronouns. You'll notice in the next 6 lines it shifts from the we to the I. And so that sets up one of the themes I had mentioned, the individual versus society. The individual has to stand up to this society that is pushing the world of industrial, of mercantile, and be an individual opposed to that. So I think that's nice shift here, and I noted that it happens after the first 8 lines. The first octave sets up the problem. Too much of a society, we're doing this. Too much in society, we give up our individuality. And part of the resolution to that problem is to become an individual again, and not conform to the Industrial Revolution or the impulse of society to get and spend so much. All right, so we have that in the first 8 lines, and now I'm moving to the last 6 lines. Let me start with, for everything we're out of tune. We're out of tune with the natural world. It moves us not. Once again, that the natural world moves us not. We don't see ourselves in nature. We're out of tune with it. We're moved by something else. Now we have in the middle of this line, great God. Now, great God could be like great God, like an expletive. Great God, darn you, God. Or great God, kind of an address, a plea to God. Great God, help us. I also think that the great God, I think that the new great God could be the God of commerce, the God of industry, the God of making, of getting and spending. Great God also could suggest the Christian God, because it's not pluralized. And it's not great gods. We get the gods plural in the lines that come after it. The pagan gods, where there are multiple gods. Maybe we have there's too much of a link between the Christian God or the biblical God and commerce, and Wordsworth is responding to that. But we have this great God, and there's ambiguity how we read it, whether it's like a plea to God or a curse. God, Great God, I'd rather be a pagan suckled in a creed outworn. I'd rather suckle, nurse. I'd rather be nourished by. I love this. I'd rather be nourished by the pagan religion, the pagan creed that is outworn. And then we have the Proteus and Triton, pagan gods. Gods of the sea, gods of change. That we have in the pagan religion, we have all these gods that are related to nature, right? And so we have the speaker say, I'd rather be nurtured by this pagan God, this pagan belief system. Not this God of commerce, not this single God, but but gods that appear throughout nature, if you will. Suckled at a creed outworn, so I might, standing on this pleasant lea, have glimpses that should make me less forlorn, less sad. If I was nurtured in the pagan tradition, in the pagan creed, if you will, I would be less depressed, less sad. Have sight of Proteus rising from the sea. Proteus, the god of change, the past, the present, and future. Or hear old Triton blow his wreathed horn. So those Triton and Proteus, once again, are classical allusions. That the speaker is saying, give me the pagan, the pagan gods that are connected to nature. That will make me less forlorn. Now, the poem is melancholy in the end. It's that, so I might, I give me these creeds out, so I might be able to do this. I might be able to stand on this lea and get glimpses of these pagan gods and feel less forlorn. There isn't like a hopefulness that the speaker will hear that. So there's a sense of as I said, melancholy or loss, because we still are out of tune. So we have as I said, the first 8 lines is the octave that sets the problem, and the solution. The solution is kind of like this desire to return to a pagan creed that's outworn, that's no longer in fashion. The last 6 lines is I wish I was able to have gods that were connected to nature, and maybe not the god of commerce, or a god that is outside of this world, outside of this natural world. And so we end with a plea or a wish that can't be satisfied to go to return to an outworn creed. All right. So we see Wordsworth's. This is a wonderful example of the Romantic period. It's the desire of the Romantic poet to embrace nature and find nature, find the sublime in the natural world, and how that's lost in the materialistic world. So at the end, I have listed there the themes: materialistic world versus natural world. We see that. The materialistic world is where we've wasted our powers, and we don't see ourselves in nature anymore, and there's a desire to return to that. We're out of tune with nature. We also see the world versus nature. The world is what human beings has created. The nature is what the nature has to offer us. That it's the natural. World is the artifact, the creation of humankind, which is not as beautiful, not as truthful as the natural world. And then the individual versus society. We have, as I mentioned, a shift from the we, us, our, to I at the end. I'd rather be. The individual is saying, I'd rather have this than what society has given us. And so maybe there's the hopefulness that we'll get some the individuals will start breaking with the society. There'll be more of the I, wanting something different than this materialistic world. All right. So there's a quick walkthrough of a poem by Wordsworth. I think that Wordsworth and the Romantics are very much relevant in our world today. There's a desire to return to the natural world, if you will. The Green Movement certainly asks us to think about our relationship with nature and see how we need to be better guardians of nature. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough. Thank you for joining Bards in the Basement, and have a wonderful day. Go read some Wordsworth.